Using 130 volts lamps in a residential unit presents several pros and cons. Firstly, let's consider the advantages. One significant pro is reduced energy consumption. 130 volts lamps are designed to consume less energy compared to standard 120 volts lamps, which directly translates to lower electricity bills over time. Secondly, these lamps often boast a longer lifespan. Because they operate at a slightly lower voltage, the stress in the lamp's filament is reduced, contributing to increased longevity and fewer replacements. Now let's examine the disadvantages. One key con is diminished brightness. For the same wattage, a 130 volts lamp will typically produce slightly less light output compared to a 120 volts lamp. This might be noticeable depending on the specific application and desired level of illumination. Secondly, there's the issue of limited availability. 130 volts lamps are not as widely stocked as 120 volts lamps, particularly in retail stores. This can make them harder to find and purchase. Another con to consider is compatibility issues. Some older lighting fixtures and dimmers are simply not designed to function correctly with 130 volts lamps. This can lead to flickering, buzzing, or even damage to the fixture or lamp. Voltage drop is another important factor. In residential wiring, especially in long runs or with undersized wiring, voltage drop can occur. Using a 130 volts lamp in a situation with significant voltage drop can result in further dimming or flickering, negating any potential energy savings. Lastly, there is the increased cost factor. 130 volts lamps are generally more expensive than their 120 volts counterparts due to a specialized design and lower production volume. In addition to these pros and cons, there are other considerations. 130 volts lamps are often favored in commercial and industrial environments where voltage fluctuations are more common. However, in residential settings, the voltage at outlets typically falls within the range of 110 volts to 125 volts, making 120 volts lamps the standard and most suitable choice. If a residential unit consistently experiences a voltage supply of 130 volts or higher, then using 130 volts lamps could potentially offer benefits in terms of energy savings and extended lifespan. However, it is absolutely crucial to consult with a qualified electrician before making the switch to 130 volts lamps in a residential unit. An electrician can assess the existing wiring, fixtures, and voltage levels to ensure compatibility and, most importantly, safety. Making an informed decision based on professional advice is essential to avoid any potential problems or hazards. For example, if a circuit is designed for 120 volts and is consistently receiving 130 volts, this could indicate an underlying issue with the electrical system that needs to be addressed regardless of the lamp voltage being used. An electrician can diagnose and correct such issues. Furthermore, using the wrong type of lamp can affect the performance and lifespan of dimmers. Dimmers are designed to work within specific voltage and wattage ranges, and using an incompatible lamp can cause them to overheat or fail prematurely. Remember that electrical codes and regulations vary depending on location, so it is important to ensure that any changes to the electrical system comply with local requirements. An electrician will be familiar with these codes and can ensure that the installation is safe and compliant. The wattage of the lamp is also an important consideration. Using a lamp with a higher wattage than the fixture is designed for can overload the circuit and create a fire hazard. Always check the fixture's label to determine the maximum allowable wattage. When considering energy savings, it is also important to factor in the overall efficiency of the lighting system. This includes the type of lamp, the fixture design, and the control system. For example, LED lamps are significantly more energy efficient than incandescent lamps, and using them can result in substantial savings over time. Additionally, consider using occupancy sensors or timers to automatically turn off lights when they are not needed. The color temperature of the lamp is another factor to consider. Color temperature is measured in Kelvin and affects the appearance of the light. Warm white light around 2700 Kelvin is typically used in living rooms and bedrooms, while cool white light around 4000 Kelvin is often used in kitchens and bathrooms. Choose a color temperature that is appropriate for this specific application. Before making any changes to the electrical system, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician. They can assess the situation and provide recommendations that are safe, efficient, and compliant with local codes. Neglecting this step can lead to serious problems, including electrical shock, fire, and property damage. Ensure that any electrical work is performed by a licensed and insured electrician. This will provide you with peace of mind knowing that the work is being done correctly and safely. When selecting lamps, pay attention to the lumen output. Lumens measure the total amount of light produced by the lamp. Choose a lamp with a lumen output that is appropriate for the specific application. For example, a reading lamp will require a higher lumen output than a night light. Also, consider the color rendering index, or CRI, of the lamp. CRI measures how accurately the lamp renders colors. A lamp with a high CRI will make colors appear more natural and vibrant. For tasks that require accurate color perception, such as reading or applying makeup, choose a lamp with a CRI of 80 or higher. When replacing lamps, be sure to dispose of them properly. Some lamps, such as fluorescent lamps, contain mercury and must be recycled. Check with your local waste management agency for information on how to properly dispose of these lamps. Finally, remember that lighting is an important element of interior design. Choose lamps and fixtures that complement the style of your home and create the desired ambience. Consider using a combination of different types of lighting, such as ambient lighting, task lighting, and accent lighting, to create a well-balanced and visually appealing space.